In today's video, I'm going to be explaining in detail how I made this beautiful trendy bodice. If you are interested in watching this, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. I already dropped the pattern drafting part of this bodice in my former video. Now, after I've drafted the bodice, I'm going to be extending the lower part of the front. I'm going to be extending the lower part of the front and on the side in order to give it that V shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my pattern on another paper, then I'm going to tape it down, as you can see. So after taping down, I'm going to use my ruler to measure my desired length downward from my hip. So here I used 4.5 inches. So I'm going to measure it, as you can see here. I'll measure 4.5 inches downward and draw a line. After doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the excess paper. Now after cutting, like I said, I'm going to do the same thing for the side. So I used 4.5 inches for the front. I'm going to go ahead and measure to confirm. Then I'm going to measure whatever I measured for the front. I'm going to measure it at the back. So after getting my desired length, I use my paper tape to hold it down. After holding it down, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler to connect it to the new paper. Now, after doing that, I'm going to also cut out my excess paper here. Doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the two patterns beside each other. Now don't forget that the front part is the center front part is an asymmetric style. So I'll be using the one side I have. I'm going to be using it for the two sides. So in order to get my V shape and for my V shape to be perfect, I'm going to place them beside each other and draw my desired V shape. Now I'm going to be using my pencil first in order to be sure of my line before using my marker, because as we all know, markers are not erasable. So now that I'm sure of my lines, I'm going to go ahead and measure the side. Don't forget that we are still going to connect the back to it, so I'm going to be using the whatever I use at the side. I'm also going to be using it for the side of the back. Now for the other side, I'm going to flip it over to the wrong side, then place it as seen. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the same. Now in order for the side to be equal, I have to measure whatever I measured at the side for the front part. I'm going to do the same thing for the wrong side. Now this doesn't mean that I'm going to be cutting them separately. I'm still going to be cutting the front. I just wanted to get my V shape for the center front so that there won't be any mistakes. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out any excess paper for the down part of the center front. To cut out the excess, the line, the slant line the V-shaped line that I drew out. I'm going to cut it out. I'll also do the same thing for the center front. For the back, I'm also going to be shaping it. So what I'm going to do is whatever I measured at the side of the front, I'm going to measure the same thing at the side of the back. Then I'll be using my hip cuff to shape the hip area. To use curvy lines to shape the lower part so that it's going to give it that nice shape. So I'm going to be cutting it as seen. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead to start cutting out my fabric. Now these are the fabrics I'm going to be using for this tutorial. Now this is my lining, the hemming gum for the hem area, my thread, and this is the what I'll be using to line the sleeve, and I'll also be using it for the collar at the back. This is the main fabric. So now we're going to proceed to cutting our fabric. Now as you can see, I'm placing my pattern on my lining. This is my lining fabric. I decided to first cut the lining fabric because I wanted to use it to cut the other ones. So as you can see, this is the other parts of the pattern. I'm cutting them on the fabric. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. Now, like I always say, when you are cutting the side, please add 1 inch, and if you are cutting the back, add 1 inch. Both sides are supposed to be cut with 1 inch allowance. Then the front, the other part are supposed to be cut with ½ inch. So now I'm going to go ahead I've cut the sleeve. I'm cutting the back, the collar at the back So because I wanted to extend the collar, I'm going to be adding more length to it, as you can see here. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut my sewing allowance. I've gone off camera to cut the remaining fabric, the remainder of the front fabric. So I'm going to notch the slash and spread we did. The slash and spread we did at the shoulder of one side of our front. So I'm going to go ahead and notch it to identify where they are going to be. So after doing that, I'm going to open out or bring it out and sew everything together, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do here is to take it to my ironing table and iron all my seams. Now if you want to know how to iron your seams, there is a video, a tutorial video that I dropped in one of my shorts. You're going to see where I taught how to iron our seams in order to make it neat. Go ahead to place my pattern. I'm going to be placing my pattern on my fabric in order to be sure. I wanted to be sure of the notches I made, to be sure of how I'm going to fold the notches, the slash and spread. So here, as you can see, I'm trying to confirm. I'm going to be holding it down, as you can see, and I'm going to pin it down. I'm going to use my hand to hold it, and I'm going to pin it down and sink. Take it to my ironing table and iron everything together. Now I've gone ahead to, after ironing my shoulder, I've joined the collar to it. Then after joining the collar, I'm going to join my lining. Now to join the lining, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin it down. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the back, for the hem area. Now, as you can see, I'm pinning down the sharp points of the hem. I'm pinning them down. Now, after sewing my neckline, I'm going to go ahead and notch it round. And we all know the reason why. The reason why is to make that neck area rhyme, and to make the neck area flat, to make it flat so it won't be bulgy. It's also advisable to cut out any excess fabric from the seam. Now for the hem area, I'm going to advise. Now, if any of my students is watching this, I taught you guys that you should use 2.5 inches for the hem and 1/2 inch for the lining. Yes, you can use that, but that only applies to when you are sewing a symmetric hemline, whether for the bodice, whether for the skirt, or for a gown. But if you are sewing any asymmetric style, any asymmetric hemline, please use 1/2 inch for your fabric and for your lining. It is not going to give you any unnecessary stress. When I was sewing the hem of this dress, I felt it gave me a lot of stress. So I will advise that you don't do that. So now I'm going to go ahead, because of this the shape of the center front, I'm going to use hard stay. You can decide to use your hard stay, you can decide to use a peplum stay to make that place look firm. If you don't add it, it's not going to look firm. Now after doing that, as you can see, I'm folding everything out so that I can see how the effect is. So I'm going to be using my hemming gum. I'm going to be using my hemming gum to I'm going to place my hemming gum at the V-shaped area, and I'm also going to be placing it at the hem area too. So now I'm going to be doing that. So in order to, the reason why I decided to use hemming gum at the hem area is so that as you can see, it is very rough, it's not looking neat. So the hemming gum, it helped me to make the hem area stable. As you can see that it's not stable here. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and sew the sleeve. Now I'm going to be posting my sleeve first. I'm going to post the sleeve tutorial. I can't post everything yet in one video, so I'll be posting it first before posting this one. So please kindly watch that video. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys in the next one. Bye.